The following program is rated GE. It is suitable for general family viewing.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to an all-new episode of Tech 47, where keeping up with tech is made simple. In today's episode, we'll talk about how drones work and how they're fixed, as well as lenses, how they work, how they're fixed, the differences between the different lenses, and so much more. You want to stick around for this one. This will be an interesting one. This is Tech 47. I am David Ochola.
Hi, how are you?
Fine.
So tell us who you are and what you do.
I'm Harun Bugwa. I'm a camera technician. I've been in this field for the last 25 years. I work in camera solution with Gishoki, but I specialize with the lens most.
Yeah, so naona tuko na lens hapa. Which lens is this?
This is 24-105 Canon. Yes.
Okay, it's a zoom lens, eh?
Zoom lens.
Okay. For those who don't know, what is the difference between a zoom and a prime lens?
A prime lens is fixed. Like we say about 85mm, 50mm fixed.
I allow.
It does not zoom the subject you want. Yeah, but this one is 24. It's wide, you zoom it up to 105.
Okay.
Yes.
You can go right into it and open, I believe.
No problem.
Yeah, kama uko sawa. Hata naona screws sijawahi ona kwa lenses.
Hizi ni za kushika hii bayonet. Sababu the lens is heavy.
So many a times watu wakikuja na lenses, what are the challenges?
Normally lenses, it does not spoil by its own. It might have foreign. The aperture unit might fail because of the flex cable, which supplies the message to the aperture, which is being commanded by the camera. That's where, if the cable is broken, now the message cannot reach the aperture. If you maybe you set up to 5.6, 8, 11, when you try to click the camera and the message does not reach the aperture, the camera will definitely give you an error. That error.
What is that green thing?
It's a control board.
Okay. Yeah. So what does it control?
It controls the aperture system and the focusing and the stabilizer.
Is this like the motherboard of the lens?
It's the motherboard of the lens. Yeah.
So it's critical.
It's critical. It's very critical, and it also gives an error if it fails. So practically you have to open the lens. If it is the error of the aperture, you open it, you go straight to the aperture, you see whether the cable is broken or the motor has failed. That's why we are doing this, to open it to see whether the aperture has failed and what causes it not to communicate with the camera. Yes.
I'm seeing a number of cables, the brownish goldish cables.
These cables are the ones which are being feeded the message by the board. Like now we have this cable. This cable is for the aperture. This is for the stabilizer. These are the sensors of the focus and the zoom. Once you zoom it, it communicates with the board, the range, so that now it can control the motor of the focus. The range is going to communicate with it. So they are all important. Without this one, there's no lens.
You said there's a cable for image stabilization.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's responsible for that only?
For stabilizing the image.
Okay. And all these cables can be replaced?
And normally, there are those cables which cannot be replaced because they don't move. They are static there, and even the supplier do not supply those because they cannot be broken. Like these cables, they don't move. The one which moves is only for the aperture and the stabilizer. When you are zooming, it goes with that unit because of the ridge. But this one, they are permanently there. That's why they cannot be broken.
So that means a prime lens is less likely to have spoilage.
A prime lens to break is hand because it has no mechanical movement because there's no zooming. Everything is intact like this one. 85.
If you want to zoom in, you walk.
You walk. You are the one who is going to zoom. It's not the lens.
So what are we looking at hapo sasa?
We are opening to see to reach the aperture control unit of this lens. We are opening to see to reach the aperture control unit of this lens.
So in the case that a lens falls down, what do you fix?
You know it's mechanical. This one is a zoom now. This is a unit. And this is cast. When it fails, it bends. When it bends, it cannot move. What we normally do, we just try to soften it, or rather, we find the whole skeleton of it so that you can replace it. Otherwise, it cannot move. Yeah, but that one is accidental. You can't say it can start by its own. Yeah.
In the case that the glass breaks, is that something that can be replaced?
Yes. The front, the rear, and the front lenses, we normally replace them. They are available. Even if they are being worn by the fungi, even like this one. This now is the one which controls the focus. It moves. It goes forward and back, depending with the range, the focus you want. And it's being controlled by this motor. See this motor? This is a motor. It's a motor for the focus. Even you can see it's moving. That is why I'm telling you some of the cables cannot be broken because this one is permanently there. This is the one which controls the motor. It is being powered by this through the camera. Because the lens doesn't have a battery. The power comes from the camera. That's why it controls this one. This one will control this lever. And this lever is going to be controlled by, it is going to adjust this lens until the subject is clear according to you if you are using manual. But if this is auto, it uses the reflex of the camera.
What are those we're removing?
These are the corals. These corals are the one which goes, it's like a rail. These are the one which holds the aperture control unit and the stabilizer. That's when you zoom, it will go with these rails. That's why these corners are there. And when you are removing them, you have to mark them because it has to go with the adjustment from the company because of the focus. Now this is the skeleton. This is the stabilizer. Now we are going to see the aperture control.
That's what we are working on opening now. So there are some cameras that have on-camera stabilization, but others don't. So is that why we have the stabilization on the lens?
If the camera has stabilization by its own, it does not need the stabilization of the lens. Although, it's not all the lenses have the stabilizer. They are chosen few. Not all of them have a stabilizer. Yeah.
And it's not something you can add.
You can't. You know, all these things, when the one who sketches the lens, he has in mind the camera is going to be used with it. So there's nothing you can add on top of that. Yeah. Now this is the stabilizer, aperture. Now when I was telling you the cable, this is the cable. You see there's a joint here. When you zoom the lens, the cable straighten. When you return it back, it bend here. So it tends to break here. And if it break, it cannot communicate now with these coils which control this aperture. This is the aperture. See, when you are talking about the aperture, when you say you have you want it to be 5.6, let's say, it controls by this motor to control this. Let's suppose that one is open completely, maybe it's 2.8, the lens is 2.8, and you want to close it to 5.6, 8, 11, 16, 22. That's why it works. It controls the amount of the light coming into the crop sensor through the lens. That's the work of this. When it fails and the camera sends a message to the lens, when it doesn't work according to instruction from the camera, that is when the camera is going to give you an error. And an error does not occur only because of the cable. The motor might fail. Or this one, you have dropped it, it has disaligned these braids. You see, there are braids which are moving. These are braids which are moving. They are adjusting themselves to close. Like your eyes, you just adjust the amount of light you want it to be inside. Now, this is the aperture, and we normally change this cable. This cable varies according to the lens, the range and the type. Like now we have 24 to 70, 24 to 105. That is why we have all these assorted cables. These are the cables which we normally change. I think all the lenses we have the cables. Like this one is 72, 400.
And they are specific to the model.
They stick to the model of the lens and the range, 24 to 70, 16 to 135, 70 to 300. That's why we have all these assorted cables. And we have the cables for the aperture and the cable for focus. There are lenses which also move with the focus, like 18 to 55. We have their cables here. That normally when it is broken, it cannot out of focus. That is why we have all these cables.
Can someone change that aperture unit?
Yeah, if it is spoiled, we normally order the way it is. If you want it to be the way it is, fixed with a cable, it will come this way. But it is costly. But when the cable is broken and the aperture is okay, there's no need of ordering the whole unit, and this cable you can change and it's cheaper. When you got above the aperture itself control the cable, it is costly. So that is why we have the cables, and it is hard for this one to run out unless you drop the camera, and it is well secured. As you see, it is inside this skeleton. Unless this one is broken, that is when this one can be spoiled. But this one can be broken because the way you are using the lens, because you have to zoom it.
So essentially, that's how the lens communicates with.
Yes, that's the way. Now that is the lens. The rest is like the way you wear clothes. But the major things is this one, and this one, and the stabilizer. This stabilizes the movement. You see, there's a lens which is moving inside, which is powered by this. That's why it stabilizes. Stop.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well.
So tell us who you are.
I'm Sam Gishuki from Calm Solutions, Kenya.
Okay, so let's jump into the drone. Yeah. So tell me about this drone.
This is a Mavic Air 2S. It's one of the latest drones that are around now. The most common problem with the drones, it comes when the drone falls down. When it falls, in a Ribingi, the gimbal. This is a gimbal. The gimbal has the U motor. It has got the motors. It has got the cables. It has got the camera, and now the cables connect to the main board of the drone. Yes. So today we are going to dismantle a little bit of it. I show you where the board is, and I show you where the connection are for the gimbal and the camera.
Yes. We can do that.
Now here we are now. This is the motherboard now. This controls the motors, the arms. These are the arms. We have the front arms, the back arms, and now all the connections come to the main board. That's what I was saying. The drone doesn't have so much inside. Just a small board, and now we have the gimbal. The gimbal has the motor, the U motors, and now the camera.
Does this motherboard also, the motherboard that we're seeing right now here, does it also work with the camera, or does the camera on the gimbal have a different motherboard altogether?
It actually works together with the camera, because we have the connections here, the connection that I'm going to remove, and also and I can mention the board also gets when the drone crashes, you can find even the board itself has crashed. So you can also change the motherboard, and it's a bit tricky because the motherboard are very expensive. Because you find the gimbal itself for the Air 2S going for around 50 Gs, 50K, and the motherboard it's about 60-70 thereabout. Yes. So it's whenever you see your drone crashing, you know you are getting back into your pocket. Yeah, deeply. So this is where you remove the connections are for the gimbal now. Yes.
Just for the viewers who don't know what the gimbal is, essentially it's what kind of balances the camera, right?
Yeah, it's what balances the camera, because it's actually when the drone flies, is the one that controls, and then you're able to control if you want it to move round, down, up. It moves. Yeah.
Essentially, what you're doing is now dismantling the gimbal
from the main board, from the main body of the drone.
How many, like, do you get to work with many types of drones?
Yes, we do. We started with the Phantom drones before we came to the Mavic. Yeah, and like Mavic, we have Zero, we have Mavic Pro, we have Mavic Air, we have Mavic Mini. So they are quite a number.
So most of the drones that you get to work with are for film, mostly.
Yes. So now the drone is out. The gimbal is out from the main. So here we have the cables now. We have this is the signal cable, which we actually use for the camera. It's used for the camera. Now hii inakuanga now for the gimbal. So when the cable is broken, you might find malfunction the entire gimbal. Unapata saa zingine inakaa side moja, saa zingine haikai vizuri, saa zingine inaangalia chini nakosa kuinuka, and actually unaweza pata pia motors zimeshort, because we have motors inside the gimbals zina move, so unaweza pata zikishort, saa zingine it's not moving, it's supposed to be moving. Yeah.
And you replace that?
Yeah, we replace all those things. Yeah, we replace with new parts. Yeah, that's pretty much about the drone. The drone doesn't have so much, because there are things that the propellers zinavunjikanga. Zikivunjika unabadilisha tu kawaida. The battery pia inaharibika. Ikiharibika you replace, because these are a bit tricky to actually repair them. Yes, so unapatanga you have to do a replacement. Yes, the motors iki-crash, mara mingi motors zinakwama, so this one we can change them. Yeah.
That's not something someone can change for themselves.
It's not possible, because you have to. You see the cable that are here zinatoka kwa motor, so you lazima ifunguliwe yote ndo utoe hadi hii arm. The that unafaa kutoa arm, kisha toa arm ndo iweze kutoa hiyo cable. Yes, so hakuna vinyo za share. The only thing you can change by your own is only these ones, because this one you just press, and because they are very easy to remove. Just press inside, then they're out. Yes, just that. Yeah.
That, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the end of another episode right here on Tech 47, where keeping up with tech is made simple. See you next week, same time, same place. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.